Well, good evening, Joan. Uh, I thought since I had some free time in Michigan State and Ohio State's not doing so well, I thought I'd go ahead and give you the Catalina Island story. This is a while back. I was working on a project on Catalina Island in California, particularly on the boat tours from California to Catalina Island and back. And while I was in Catalina Island, I had the chance to visit a really wonderful antique store. And the antique store had in its collection a very wonderful 18th century whaling harpoon, which was about 12, 16, 18, about 20 feet long. It was actually used in whaling off Nova Scotia and had a wonderful story with it. And of course, being me, I had to have the harpoon because what guy doesn't need a harpoon for his man cave? So I bought the harpoon and arranged to have it shipped back to Michigan because again, I'm working on Catalina Island and I had other projects in California I was working on, so I figured I'd just have it shipped back to Michigan. So while I was off doing my other things, they were packaging it up and put it in a great big tube. And UPS came along and picked it up and shipped it back for me to Michigan. Now the problem was that the harpoon got back to my house in Michigan before I did. So when I got back to Michigan and got back to my house, my wife was there with the container, the very large tube container with the harpoon on the floor, and she was holding it. And she was pretty much asking, why did you have to buy a harpoon? Well, the answer was pretty simple because I didn't have one. And every guy needs to have a harpoon in his man cave, and it was really cool and very unique. And since I didn't have one, I had to buy the harpoon. You'd be amazed when you see my house and all the other things I have, the things that I bought that I didn't need, but I bought because I didn't have one. So anyways, the way the harpoon goes is she's holding the harpoon and asking me why I bought the harpoon. I explained because that's me, and I needed to have one. And she said she needed to have a gold bracelet. And I thought that was a pretty fair compromise. So we went off to K Jewelers and I bought her a gold bracelet. And she let me have my harpoon. So that's why I have lots of stuff here in my house museum. Harpoons and longhorn cattle horns and all kinds of things. But it also illustrates the fact that the person I am married to views me as really quite a handful of a person that does really stupid things like buy a harpoon. But also I tend to treat my spouse as a princess, and she deserved a gold bracelet in return for me buying a harpoon. So that's the harpoon story. Now I have other stories to tell you about other weird things that I have, but I think the harpoon is one of the most interesting ones that kind of about who I am and the kind of things I like to collect and have, and the stories that are associated with each object that I have is really what's most important to me because I'm a storyteller. And so it was a story about the harpoon, the men that used it, the ships that went out looking for whales, the whole whaling heritage. Thank God we don't do that anymore. But it was still quite a story. And I am a storyteller. So that's the story on the harpoon. Hope you find it interesting. Hope you find me interesting because that's kind of what I do. So have a good evening. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.